Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Awesome Kids All the Time. And in this episode, Megan, we're going to talk about 3 tips to stop sassy mouths. Back talking, as my mother used to call it. All right.
Yeah.
So why don't you get us started out? What's tip number 1?
Well, a sassy mouth is more than just a mouth, right? Sassy mouth can be hands on hips. It can be eye rolling. It can be huffing.
Slumped shoulders.
It can be actual verbal of, I want to. Or it could be silence. A sassy mouth could be silence when you say, answer your mother, and they say, right?
Or the incessant, why?
Yeah.
Why?
There are those to whom the why is not known.
Right.
Yeah. So we want to deal with all areas of a sassy mouth. And really, it always comes back to mom and dad.
Right.
And what we're allowing and the standard we've set in our home. So number 1 is this. With a sassy mouth, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, we have to catch it every time.
Every time.
Consistency is key.
Right.
And so why don't we catch it?
Because it's too much work.
Exactly.
Or we just tune it out after a while. We've allowed a verbal freedom so many times that we just tune it out. Or we excuse it away by saying, it's just a phase they're going through. Right? Instead of nipping it in the bud. It's back talking. It's disrespectful to you, and it's not healthy for the child. It's not. There's a difference between a legitimate inquiry about why or how something works and the protestation of why.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you to ask me to do something kind of thing?
Exactly. And, one of the things we always look for was, if my child said this to someone else, how would I respond?
If another adult was in your house and they said that to you, would you ask them to step outside?
Right, exactly. So the first thing is this, catch it every time and be consistent, which means we got to get up and deal with it.
And help each other with that.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes I don't hear it, sometimes you don't hear it, but the other person listening to what's going on between you and a child can go, hey, wait, hold on a minute. Did you hear what they just said to you? Oh, yeah, they did sass me. Okay, help them.
And we can promise you this. If you get up and deal with it, you'll have it happen much less.
Yes.
But our kids become natural gamblers. Right. We talk about that often, which is, I could probably get away with this 4 or 5 times before mom or dad finally gets up.
And these verbal freedoms that your kids are taking, they haven't earned. And verbal freedoms have tentacles that touch everything else in life, and not in a good way.
Right.
And so if you nip verbal freedoms in the bud, you're gonna solve a whole lot of problems that you haven't even seen yet.
Exactly. We're going to talk about some of the long-term consequences in just a minute. So number 1 is this, catch it every time. Number 2 is so important. Mom and dad, you have to be on the same team, which means when your children are not around, you got to have a conversation about this.
Right.
And you have to set the standard in your home, what is and isn't acceptable. And we would say, set it from biblical standards, right? Love is not rude. Right. So anything that would be rude if you said it, it's rude when your 4-year-old says it, even though it's funny. And there were times that our kids were sassy and we had to deal with it, that then we went in our bedroom and we shut the door and we laughed, right? But we didn't do it in front of the child, because a sassy 4-year-old becomes a really unpleasant 14-year-old, 24-year-old, and it goes on and on.
If it's unpleasant for you, it now becomes unpleasant for me.
Right.
I might be looking at a way a child talks to you, and I'm like, that's no big deal. It's just a phase. I just ignore it. Right. I don't even want to get up off the couch. But I'm looking at the expression in your face, and I'm going, wow, that she's really being tortured by that child. I need to get up and care about that, not just say that's your problem. You deal with it. Right.
And often our kids are just mimicking how they hear us speak to each other.
Right.
So if you hear your child say something disrespectful to your spouse, and you can go, oh, that's kind of how I talk to her.
Where did they learn that? Maybe they learned that from me.
Right.
Be on the same team.
The second thing with this, be on the same team, is you got to hold one another to that standard that you've set, which is, hey, honey, she just backtalked you. It wasn't your job when a child backtalked me to always step in and deal with it. I needed to be tuned in and go, hey, wait a minute. You can't talk to me that way. Now, I will say with each of our boys, there was a time that you stepped in because they really needed the dad Midas touch, right? And the third thing is this: don't make excuses for your children. That's how you can be on the same team. If you were saying to me, what he just said was really sassy, and I said, oh, it's so funny, it's so cute, or he's so tired, or I think it's because his sister hurt his feelings,
or he's teething, or
yeah,
he's
don't
got
make
colic,
excuses for it.
It's too humid today,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to catch it every time. We're going to be on the same team.
Right.
And then number 3 is this: when you catch it, choose a consequence and then carry out the consequence.
Right.
And so what are some of the consequences that we could give?
Well, one of the consequences is if the child is sassing back, let's say they wanted something and they're not pleased with your answer, then the answer to them is no, right? We're not going to find a way to give them what they want anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, it's a backdoor way for them to just say, well, it was just a little bit more work for me to get what I wanted, and I can be sassy and still get what I want. No. There's got to be a consequence, and if the consequence is attached to something or some privilege, then the answer is no, not this time, maybe next time, but you need to learn to control your mouth.
Good. That's a really good one. The second one is this, and this would be more for a child who isn't characterized by doing it every time,
Right.
but go back and do it again. To say to them, no,
Right.
the way you spoke to mommy was not appropriate. Go back and try again.
And dads, this is an easy one for us to do. Let's say you overhear a child being sassy to mom. You can intervene and go, hey, hold on a second. How do you speak to your mom? The child's going to do like this. Mm-hmm. You go back and try that again. And then they'll go, mommy, may I please have a cracker? And
Exactly.
You go, that's much better.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the third one is to isolate your child, not as punishment so much, but to send them and say, you think about what just went wrong. Don't say to them, if you continually are saying to your child, you were just sassy to me, or you just spoke rudely to mommy, they're not learning the lesson. You want them to take ownership of it. So if you've continually been reminding them to do it again and again, the next time they do it, say to them, I want you to go to your room and think about what you just said to me, and don't come out until you know how to make it right.
But mom and dad, put some sort of time limit on that. Don't put them up there for half a day.
Yeah,
we know parents
right.
that they wanted to get some time off, so they put their kids in timeout for half the
Have
day.
a day. No.
Make this a 5 or 10 minute thing, and then deal
making
with it.
it right involves seeking mom or dad's forgiveness. Right. So we want to help our kids to control those sassy mouths, because there really are some long-term consequences to that type of rudeness. And you alluded to the one that verbal freedoms really, they affect everything. But we want our kids to be successful, especially in relationships. And if they have been allowed to cultivate those kind of yucky, sassy mouths, they're going to be the kids nobody wants to be friends with.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so number one was catch it every time. Be consistent with this. Be on the same page. Set a standard between the two of you, means a conversation. And then choose a consequence and then carry it out every time. If you don't carry it out every time, you turn your kids into gamblers. And that's not healthy for them or for you.
Right. We can curb a sassy mouth and build a pleasant one.
Good job. All right. This has been Awesome Kids All the Time. I'm Dr. Steve.
And I'm Megan.
We'll see you next time. Well, thanks for watching that clip on YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our weekly content. See you soon.